Thank you very much. Welcome to the Ozu interview, everybody. I'm so happy, I'm so anxious, I'm so nervous. Cheers, everybody. We've been talking about it for so long. Few weeks now, I think. So I am super happy to finally do it tonight after a lot of work, a lot of preparation behind. Well, a lot. Some preparation. I know for doing the video there was a lot of preparation from Endo's side. Thank you very much, Endo. Preparing everything as well with the invitees, the guests, making them, if I can say, comfortable with some aspect of the interviews, because I'm putting myself in their place. It's always it is wrecking, anxious, nervous to go on an interview. So like I said to all of them, even though it's an interview, I want it to be a discussion. I want it to be fun. It's not an interview where I will ask you 50 questions in a minute. That's not it. We will take the time, we will discuss stuff, and basically have fun. So without further ado, we have a guest waiting. So what we'll do is we'll go meet him. As you all know, the guest tonight is actually Doler from the guild Consanguineus. I'm really happy to have him as the first guest, not only because when all said and done, they are the first guild on our side to clear Nax, but actually we've talked about that for quite a while, him and I, about those interviews, about doing something for the Horde community. So, Doler, welcome to the show. I'm really happy to have you here. How are you tonight, my friend?
Thank you. Happy to be here. I'm fine. I'm as nervous as you are, so hopefully we'll be all right.
Cool. Okay, so let's start by knowing a little bit more about you. Tell us your history in WoW. Did you play vanilla? What did you play? And so on and so forth. So before starting Classic.
Yeah, so I started playing in the beta actually of vanilla, and then as soon as vanilla was released, we started playing. I raided in vanilla, but I was kind of, the one of the AFK persons in the back of the raid, pressing rejuve and being abused for the combat res. So I wasn't really researched into raiding or anything. I was just a bystander in those runs. But yeah, I played since vanilla. Then into TBC is where it kicked off for me. That is my peak expansion. Had my own guild there, and raided on sort of a decent level. Into Wrath of the Lich King, and since then it's been a bit on and off for me with World of Warcraft, playing for a few months and then taking a break, playing for a few months again. Into the newer expansions where I have just leveled the character and then stopped playing. So the last 3 expansions I didn't actually raid.
When you say that you raided from vanilla up to Rat on a decent level, what was it hardcore? Was it semi-hardcore? How was it exactly?
I don't know, I kind of don't like those terms, because what does semi-hardcore mean? What does hardcore mean? It's something different to everyone.
Exactly.
So in TBC, where we had our peak moment, we actually raided a lot in terms of time investment. So we raided 5 nights a week and then 4 hours per evening. So that's 20 hours of raiding a week. And that got us quite high up the progress and listing for clearing content. but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're very hardcore in terms of preparation and gold investment or requirements of players or whatever. We just enjoyed playing a lot, so we raided almost every evening.
Even more in vanilla. I mean, I remember raiding 5 days, some weeks 4 days. So the way we were was 1 week 4, 1 week 5. So a lot of hours, 20 hours like you, but we were not considered hardcore. So you are right when saying what is hardcore. Hardcore for you might not be hardcore for another guild, where you could be a dead guild for someone else.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So now, with the release of Classic, how did you? What did you say when you first heard the release of Classic? What was? Did you envision starting playing back again, building a guild and so on, or you just like, let's try it, let's see where it goes?
It was actually the exact opposite. So Classic was announced, and the last few expansions in World of Warcraft, I didn't enjoy them that much. And every expansion, they, implemented new stuff, which I disliked even more. So the trend was, for me at least, to play less every expansion that was released. And when they finally announced Classic, I was like, I am definitely going to try this to see if I'm in general not enjoying WoW anymore, or maybe MMOs or gaming that much anymore, because as Classic or Vanilla aged, I aged as well. So I'm 34 now. So I was trying to find out if I enjoy playing the game, if it was in the old state. But before we started, we actually I played together with my wife, and we said, whatever happens, we just want to play the game. We do not want to be officers, guild master. We don't want to be raid leading. We just want to play the game for once. Because back in TBC, we also both played, and it took up a lot of our time. And whenever we're playing, if I'm doing the raid leading, we're sitting next to each other. But obviously, I'm doing the raid leading, so there's no chit chat or anything. We're just playing. So we said, whatever happens, we're not going to be guildmaster, we're not going to be raid leading, and obviously exactly that happened.
That's quite funny. What made you change your mind? So you came in saying, I don't want to be guild I just want to enjoy the game, and then you started the guild consanguineus. I think you started pretty early as well, right? I mean,
yeah. So the like the month before Classic actually opened up, so I think it was August. More and more guildies from our TBC time started reaching out to me on Discord or via email or real ID or whatever. So, and they just started asking, "Oh, can we please play together? Can we please play together?" And even then, we said, "Sure, we let's at least be on the same server, and we'll join a guild together or whatever." But at one point, we had like 20 of the old TBC crew that wanted to play again. So we were like, "Well, we can set up our own guild then." And they all kind of forced me to be the guild master again, saying it wouldn't be the same if I wouldn't be GM. So I just had to do it. But eventually I agreed, because some of them told me to be GM and they would offer to be officer. And, we just wanted to play together. There were no goals or ambitions, or we need to raid this much, or we need to, get this done. We just play. And I was like, all right, whatever. That means I have to set up a Discord and, do some stuff. But for the rest, it's not very intense or anything.
So start with start with the basic. Let's just set up a Discord, play with my friends, play amongst friends, and just enjoy the game. What made you choose Mirage-Raceway, a PvE server?
So this actually took up like a week or 2 weeks of our time discussing a bit on where we would play. And back in TBC, we were on a PvP server, but that was a PvP server. We were playing Horde back then. that had like 95% horde population. So it was
Okay.
PvP, but there wasn't any competition by alliance because there were just so few. Um, but yeah, so since you wanted to play very casually and just level a bit and have fun, and none of us actually wanted to PvP, we figured why not just do a PvE server, even though there's like maybe less interesting hardcore guilds on it or whatever. It doesn't matter. We're just going to play together, and since we don't want to PvP, being on a PvP server would just be a burden instead of a bonus.
Okay. Well, why, if I can ask, why didn't you want to PvP? Was it you just wanted to PvE? You don't like PvPing? You don't like that aspect of the game, or was it a group decision?
I guess none of the players just were that interested in PvP. Back then, when we raided 20 hours a week, everyone was just raiding every night. So there wasn't a lot of time for PvPing. So I guess we got a lot of PvE players and not a lot of PvP players. And for me personally, I don't enjoy PvPing that much. It's just like a side thing, or like let's do 2 or 3 battlegrounds, and then I don't do it again for a few weeks.
I think I have the same as you. And even back then, I mean, it was worse in a sense, the PvP back in vanilla than it is today. Today it's the queue time, but back then it's just PvPing was really bad.
I think the only thing I enjoyed doing in terms of PvP was when I was fully decked out in PvE gear as a hunter, and I just hid somewhere in a corner and I was pre-casting aim shot on someone or whatever, and then almost one-shotting people. That is my PvP experience. That's it.
Fair. Okay, so now you choose the server, Mirage-Raceway, you create your character, you start leveling. How did you level? For me, there's two types of leveling person or method, if you want. There's the dungeon, the cleave dungeon method, or there's the questing method. What type of guy are you?
Well, I level doing both,
Okay.
and that's also the way I prefer it the most. So what I usually want to do is, do some dungeons, get some levels, and then go to a quest zone where you're maybe a bit too high level for. So you have a couple of green and yellow quests, and you can just do a lot of them at the same time. And then when I get to a new zone and the quests are red or whatever, I just do some dungeons again, get a few levels, and go back to the quest zone and do the quests. So that is how I leveled the first time, and that is how I enjoyed it the most.
Perfect. I got already there's a question from I don't know that Pinky. I don't know that person. Is it true that you did not level with your wife?
Pinky is actually my wife.
I know.
Yeah, so I had more time to level, so sooner rather than later we got a gap in between us in terms of levels. So yeah, I left her behind.
Oh, you can discuss it out later on tonight, I guess.
Couch again for me. It's fine.
Okay. So, who came up with the name consanguineus? With I must say, with a little C, because this triggers a lot of PTSD among a lot of people.
This is very important, the small C part as well. So where does the name come from? Yeah, so I started up Consang in TBC, like retail TBC.
Okay.
TBC back in the day. And that was more of I created it with my alt I was in a guild at the time, and they were very elitist, and I didn't enjoy the way they treated their members. So I was like, all right, I can do this better. I will set up my own guild. But I did it with my alt, and while I was leveling my alt, I was just inviting everyone that I saw that didn't have a guild. So we came up with this name that just, I don't know, some Latin stuff of related or whatever it means. And then there was the capital of the small c. So initially it was just meant to, I don't know, to not come across serious or to come across like don't care, whatever. This is just a name.
Okay.
But then as we started raiding in the Burning Crusade and it became a bit more serious, people starting to get annoyed over it. Like, why is there a small c? Let's just reform it and everything. And we didn't do it at the time. And then we started memeing it. And now when we recreated it in vanilla, obviously, or in classic, it obviously had to be small c again. And yes, we get a lot of complaints again, like why do you have a small c? Which I guess is the point.
Yeah, of course. Your whole team, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna say the word team, but your rank, your different rank in your guild has a Latin, Roman emperor theme to it, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah, that was the theme back in the day, back in TBC. So we just used the same names to ranks again. Mostly because we started off with like 20 of the TBC time people, and we just wanted to do that out of nostalgia.
Okay, perfect. So you created your guild. You signed the charter. Do you still remember who signed your charter? And
no, I don't. I don't remember everyone that signed.
Okay.
So my wife Pink signed, and Rick Trolled I think signed, and then 90% of the people that TBC members they all quit while leveling.
Okay.
So I don't know who exactly signed. The only thing I remember from the guild charter is that I was running around at low level, going to where all the members were leveling. So I was actually getting behind on levels, just chasing people around for signs. And every time someone signed, I asked him for like a silver, so I could afford the charter and still buy my skills while leveling.
So it was from the original. It was you and Rick Troll that from what you remember, right?
Yeah. So Rick is one of the TBC people from back in the day. So he was here since the start, and yeah.
So you guys have been actually playing for that amount of time. I'm pretty sure you guys must be friends by now, right?
Yeah, so we've been a bit on and off of the game, and we've been in different guilds. But in TBC, he played with us, Wrath of the Lich King, and Keta, and after that, I think we haven't really been in the same guild anymore, up until now.
Okay. So at what level do you remember? At what level did you create Consanguineus?
I was in the early levels, so I was on Brill at the time, and I don't know, like level 10 maybe ish.
Okay. So you said there was basically no purpose in creating the guild beside playing with your friend, coming back into let's say World of Warcraft, to be able to play with your friend. So that's right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Perfect. So now you guys, I'm guessing you guys all hit level 60. And at one point, you wanted to go into the first raid available, which was Molten Core. How did you approach that whole? Maybe I want my guild to be raiding. How did you approach that aspect?
Yeah, so all the people in the guild they wanted to see the raids, but they didn't necessarily want to commit to being in a raiding guild or a raiding schedule or anything. So even the leveling, we really had to state that clearly at the start, that everyone could level at their own pace, no expectancies. Some people would be 60 in December, some people would be 60, second week or whatever. That's all fine. But as soon as we had like 5 to 10 people dinging 60, we wanted to do Molten Core, and we started looking for other guilds to team up with. And early on, we found Rip that wanted to team with us, So we had
Okay.
like we did like maybe 2 or 3 weeks of pugging where we just had a lot of random people joining, and then we started to team up with RIP for a few weeks, and they supplied like half the members and we supplied half the members. But we didn't really prepare for this. It's just everyone from us that wanted to play, they signed up, and we asked RIP members to sign up, and then we had about 40 and we went in, and we didn't even know tactics or anything. Of course, we knew it from what we had seen back in vanilla, and we had read some stuff on the internet, but nothing, no proper preparation or anything. We even had Pumpkin from RIP explaining tactics in those 2 weeks. That's how prepared we were. But from there, we kept doing the pugs at the start, and people that joined our pugs, they wanted to join the guild, and that's how we grew, and we got up to 40 members in no time, and we started raiding Molten Core back then every week.
See, I was not even playing back in phase 1, phase 2, and what you are saying strike me, because someone said the same thing to me not so long ago, in the sense that every guild that started when MC came out, so every guild that started raiding, pretty much on the outside, I'm always talking on the outside, pretty much everyone was pugging because they either didn't have full raid group at level 60, or the people were not commit, let's say, at the moment. So it's really it's something I didn't knew about consanguineus. So you guys actually team up with RIP. So do you remember the first raid, the first time you went in MC?
Barely. I know we didn't clear it in one night for sure. We didn't wipe that much, but we were just very, very slow. And yeah, like I said, so explanation of tactics before every boss, and killing a mob, a trash mob, standing still, drinking up. Are we ready? Yes. All right, next mob. In that fashion. So we spent like 3 hours in there, and I don't know how many boss kills we've gotten, but we didn't clear very far.
Do you remember how many time it took you to go back in MC? How many weeks, maybe, to have a full clear of MC?
I think we cleared MC from the first week we went in there onwards, but we didn't clear it in one night for a few weeks.
Okay.
So we needed 2 weeks for I don't know how many weeks. Not 2 weeks. Sorry, we needed 2 raids in 1 week for a few weeks.
2 days. Okay, perfect. So I'm guessing my next question was how many wipes did you do, or did you add any wipes? I'm guessing you had a few. If it took you two days.
I don't know how many wipes we had, but I remember it to not be that many actually.
Okay.
It just was more us being slow than us wiping a lot. But there were definitely some wipes in there. I just don't remember how many or what boss or whatever. But
okay,
it wasn't a clean let's go in and one shot everything for sure.
Do you remember which boss you struggled on the most on that first week?
Surprisingly, Shazra was very difficult for us.
Okay.
I don't know what. There were several issues, I think. Let's see. He teleported and we fucked up, and the decursing was off. We didn't purge the boss.
Okay.
I don't know. There were so many things wrong.
Quite interesting, considering Shazra is not one of the most difficult boss in MC. But
yeah.
What do you remember after maybe your first night or your full clear, which was the second night during that week? Do you remember the what you felt in terms of what was back in vanilla versus what was or what is in classic?
Yeah, like I said, when I was in vanilla raiding, I was a complete pepega. I was just standing there, not understanding boss mechanics. So I experienced it more lively this time around, but it also felt so much easier than I remembered, and I knew it was going to be easier, but not this much easier. One-shotting Ragnaros or more bosses that you progress for the first time. That was kind of sad, and well, I was still leveling. Apes already cleared MC with like level 55 characters and stuff. And I was like, oh my god, is this going to be classic? Is this going to be it?
Yeah.
And yeah, that was kind of sad. And the MC wasn't difficult at all.
Okay. Do you remember when you switch from doing a pug run or a co-run with Rip, then having the full 40 men you needed to do your own consanguineus run?
Not really, actually. I only know that it grew from people that were still leveling that we gained over time, and people that joined our pugs that joined our guild eventually over time.
Okay. So after doing MC all over and then Black Wing Layer, the next phase was announced. How did you prepare for BWL? Knowing what you knew, having the experience now of MC, of Classic as a whole, how did you prepare for BWL?
Yeah, so like we talked about at the start of Classic, we were just not, no ambitions, no goals. We just went in, and during MC, especially near the end, we started doing some quote unquote speed runs, which just meant that we would try to pull fast. And I don't know, I think we got like second time on the server or something. But yeah, the change for us from being at the start of MC, at the start of Classic, towards the end of the MC tier was definitely that we wanted to do something more than just go in and clear MC or clear Blackwing Lair. But we weren't anything serious at all at that point. So for Blackwing Lair, our preparation was that I set up a Google Doc that had some information on the bosses on how we wanted to do them. For example, Razorgore, we're all going to stand on the one platform on the left and pull everything towards us, that kind of stuff. And that was pretty much it in terms of preparation, really. We didn't even flask on anyone on the progress night.
Okay.
And we were still explaining boss tactics before every boss on Blackwing Lair on our progress run. So we weren't getting up at midnight to do it. We didn't really care for the progress ranking. We did hope to clear it in one night, which was like Thursday evening for us, I think. Which we did with 30 minutes overtime, I think, because we wiped on the Farian in the end. But yeah, so that was the state of the guild at that point. So we didn't flask. We only had like a summary of tactics on a Google Doc, and we were still explaining tactics on the go. So during the run, stand still for 10 minutes. This is how we're going to do it, guys. You stand there, you stand there, etc.
So that was a 3-hour raid. You said you the first time you did it in one night, you had a 30-minute extension. So that was a 3-hour raid. I'm guessing.
Yeah. So okay. We wanted to raid for 3 hours, and we ended up doing 3.5 hours, I think.
To complete progress and have the clear in the first night. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
You said something interesting. You ended up having the second time in MC back then. Do you remember what was the time?
Oh, I have no idea, really.
Okay.
I don't know.
Compared to today, I mean, it could have been fun too. Okay.
It wasn't very fast, I can tell you that. It wasn't very fast, but well, it was for our standards, it was decent then.
Exactly. Like I mean, today doing Blackwing Lair in 3 hours, in more than an hour, really is considered long. But back then, when the first instance came out, I mean, doing it in one night was somewhat of an accomplishment. Do you remember which boss was the most difficult in BWL for you guys?
Yeah, so the rumors on the street was that Vilstress would be a wall and Chromegas would be a wall, but those bosses were just easy for us for some reason. We had the most issues with Firemaw,
Okay.
and that was mostly because we just didn't respect the positioning that much, I guess.
Okay.
So the boss where it's tanked and where the off tank is taunting the wing buffet, and how people are peeking in and running out when they get too many debuffs, etc. So that's the boss we wiped on the most from memory, and that was the boss that was that surprised us the most in terms of being more difficult than we expected.
Anything that the guild did, anything that you guys did to prepare better, or knowing what you knew in MC to prepare, because you said you were not flasking, but were you using fire resist gear? Were you using fire resist spot and so on?
I think we had fire resistance gear on the tanks for Firemaw.
Okay.
But the rest didn't have it. Everyone had Onyxia cloaks. That's what I know. I think I'm not sure. We used some consumables, but nothing in the sense of what we're doing now.
Okay, so nothing was. It was more on a personal basis that people would use consumes or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
World buff.
I don't even remember if we had world buffs for. Yeah, we probably had world buffs for Blackwing Lair progress, but we also lost them pretty early on, I think.
Wait, was it to the same extent as it is today on the world buff side, or it was more of a nice to have kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. So the latter. So same for the MC speedruns that we did in the end. It was just like, oh well, if you have some spare time and you happen to be online around the buff time or whatever, then go grab some. It would help at that level of getting buffs.
You talk about the Unicloak. Do you remember your first NEF transition phase 1, phase 2, and how many people died on that without having Unicloak?
I don't think we lost people due to not having Unicloak equipped.
Okay.
We crafted them all with the gold bank and we handed them out to everyone, so everyone had one for sure.
Okay, so there was a little preparation in that sense from the guild.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Onyxia cloaks, they were all crafted by the guild.
Perfect. What is up to this day the most funny moment you had in BWL or MC?
Molten Core, I don't know if we had many funny moments there. Molten Core, we have some areas where whenever someone fucks up in our runs, we name this spot. We give this spot the name of the player that fucked up. So if someone, we had a warrior Nightbreed and he fucked up a pull and he wiped us on the trash on Molten Core, and then that was the Nightbreed pack, etc. So in the end, we had Molten Core with like 10 names in them. I don't know. I guess the worst mistake was by Rick Troll backpedaling into the lava. We've all seen the video, I think. That was a Molten Core thing. And the funniest thing, I think, in Blackwing Lair, I don't know. For me personally, it was the time when we were speedrunning with Burnt and the competition was on. And they finally thought they had beat our time once, and they ended up being 6 seconds slower than us. So we raided on the same night, and so we started a bit earlier. And whenever we were done, we would just tune into their stream, and we could like watch them finish. They would be at Nefarian or something, and we could hear that voice comes, and then someone would say, "Oh, this will put a dent in Consang's time," and then they upload their logs, and they're 6 seconds slower than us. That's just perfect.
6 seconds.
6 seconds, yeah, you gotta love it. Still a joke in our guild. For the people that were around since Blackwing Lair.
Yes, I mean it's nothing. 6 seconds for what? For Do you remember what was the time total?
No,
Okay.
not exactly. In between 27 and 30 minutes, I think, but not sure.
I mean, 6 seconds. I would be mad. 6 seconds. Cool. The opening of the gate. Anne Quirage.
Oh shit! Yes.
The first thing that strikes me, and even back then I was playing. I started playing in BWL. I always wonder why Consanguineus did not go for a Scarab Lord.
Yeah, true. So we had nobody going for Scarab Lord. I don't know. It's a recurring theme in our guild. Whenever there is some, I don't know, vanity thing like Scarab Lord, that not many people are interested.
Okay.
For some reason, we have people that are interested in raiding, and playing the game or whatever, but not I want to get this title or I want to get this item or whatever. We asked in the guild, does anyone want to go for it? And second question, does anyone want to actively help farm it? And then we said, if you want to actually do this, you have to commit to it, because obviously it takes up a lot of time and it takes up other people's time because you need to get help doing it. Who's interested? And then there were like one or two sort of interested, but nobody actually who wanted to commit doing it. And then we ended up having someone join who had a lot of gold, and he wanted to get Scarab Lord in our guild and pay everyone that helped him, but didn't work out. So no Scarab Lord for us.
Okay. It is completely understandable. It is a feat. It takes a lot of time. The grinding is insane, and I do respect people that says even in top guild that don't have like you guys that don't have a Scarab Lord. I respect that. The amount of time it takes to do it is insane. Did you, though, participate in the opening of the gate itself by providing mats and so on? Because it was a big event. I mean, it is sure a big event for every servers. Every servers had, I think, somewhat prepared. Our servers was kind of good in preparing. That's from my point of view. I think everybody participated in one way or the other. Did you guys participate in the AQ Open? Hello.
Yeah, so back in, yeah, you're lagging a bit, but I heard the question.
Sorry.
So back in the Molten Court here, me and Aaron Priest, we started setting up the war event stuff, the gathering of the materials and sheets, and Manbin joined from RIP, and we set up a Discord. We started inviting other guilds to make it work, and I guess most people know the story, but this is what I remember of it, at least a bit of drama in there. We ended up everyone could like reserve the items that they wanted to donate in the sheet, and then they were supposed to turn them in, right?
Yes.
So we chose, well, I guess, yeah, well, we chose as a guild to not reserve any of the loot and just tell our members, like, we're gonna farm some stuff together, have a beer, be on voice chat, get some materials, turn them in, but we're not going to say we're going to do 10,000 of this or whatever, just as a free-for-all. And that meant, apparently, that we wouldn't have a say in when the gates would open, because that would be for the guilds that would contribute the most in terms of, reserving it and then actually put it in. So that was fine. I mean, we wanted it opened as fast as possible so we wouldn't miss a lockout, but everyone would have their say. Anyway, so at the time where people would turn it in, we were missing a certain item. Well, a lot of them. We were missing Firebloom, which was what Rip was supposed to turn in. And apparently Rip had a quarrel with discipline or other guilds because they didn't agree on the date of opening, and they wouldn't turn in their fire bloom over it. So I talked to Manbane about it, and he didn't want to turn it in because because he didn't agree with the date. So we started buying up all the fire bloom, and everyone started gathering fire bloom in our guild, and we ended up donating half of the fire bloom that was required to turn in, spending lots of guild bank money on it, and guildies themselves, they just bought it to turn it in because they wanted to do a queue. And when Menbei noticed, he told me, and he said, "I will put the rest in. Don't buy anymore." And he ended up donating the fire bloom anyway, which got us the opening date that we got.
I think you're right, and I think there was a little bit of drama compared to other server. That's why I'm saying a little bit. There was certain server that went batshit crazy. I think we were quite good in the opening. It could have been we missed a lockout if I remember right. But overall, I think it was there was a sense of community during that time and gathering everything. So it was nice to see.
Everyone is so used to how Mirage-Raceway works these days, but back then, even the world buff stuff was difficult to do. It wasn't set up properly yet, and
That's true.
same with the war effort stuff. It really had to, find its ground and become a thing, because at the start there was just nothing. People were just guilds were doing whatever they wanted.
Yeah, that's actually true. Overall, I think as a community, Mirage Raceway came together, and we opened the gate quite early, if we can say. Even though we missed a lockout, we did not miss 2 lockouts, and there was actually a lot of bonding, a lot of guild getting together to perform the task. All good. Gate is open. How did you approach that new raid tier, AQ40? Did you prepare beforehand in terms of nature resist, in terms of consume, world buff, and so on? Because for me, this is where the meta on the server kind of changed in terms of everything I just said. So did you prepare differently, or you were still in casual mindset, if I can use the expression?
No, so the MC tier was the casual mindset for us, and Blackwing Lair from start to end, we went from being sort of casual to being interested in progress, being interested in clear times, and that included everything that was needed to get there. So also preparation, flasks, protection potions, practice, whatever. So for the AQ tier, we actually had everyone farm flasks. So everyone needed to have 6 flasks for the progress of AQ. Everyone needed to have protection potions for all the bosses. All the DPS and enhancing consumables were mandatory for the progress one at least. And we actually invested more time in researching tactics, made a tactics sheet, tactics document, and we set up a private server to practice some bosses on.
Yeah.
Which ended up not to be the same as classic. The private server is just it sounds great, but it's laggy and buggy, and it crashes, and the mechanics don't work the same way, and the values are off, and it is really shit. And we have this sweaty nerd in our guild that likes to edit the code and quote unquote improve things. And whenever that happens, something else breaks, right? So I don't know what happened. Sometimes bosses didn't spawn anymore, or the bosses wouldn't work anymore, or whatever. So it was always something. But to get a general idea of the raid instance, it was still decent. You would see the bosses, do their mechanics, tentacle spawn or the beam, and you'd get a feeling for the range of the chain of the beam, or the teleport of the boss, or that kind of stuff. So you would kind of get an idea of the mechanics and see it once, and that helped us a lot. I guess even if it was just for confidence going in there first on a progress night. Like we've seen this, we know what's gonna happen, sort of, because it's different but the same. So private server practice, flasks, protection potions, enhancing consumables, and more research and tactics for AQ. And actually getting up at midnight to try and get rank 1 on the progress as well, which is the first time for us. Back in Molten Core, we laughed at people doing it. Told everyone that they were nerds. I think it was easy and burned at the time for Blackwing Lair. We were like, oh my god, these nerds are getting up at midnight to get rank 1 progress on a 15-year-old game. What is wrong with these people? So little did we know at the start of AQ we would be doing the same thing.
What changed? Where I mean, what changed and obviously it changed between, like you said, BWL and AQ, but what was the reason from changing, let's say, to more of a casual guild, no world buff, no consume mandatory, to now AQ, let's focus up, let's get things done in a faster and better and so on. What changed?
Yeah, so in the end of the Molten Core tier, we figured that just clearing the content in Classic isn't doing it for us, because that's kind of a given. I think everyone will clear the content. There's nobody that will do Blackwing Lair, the entire Blackwing Lair tier, and not clear it, for example. I mean, not nobody, but say whatever, 80-90% of the guilds, they would do it, right? So we wanted a new challenge, and what would that challenge be? And near the end of Molten Core, we figured, well, at least try to improve our clear times, not necessarily speed clear or the fastest time possible or whatever, but if we do the run in 2 hours, let's aim for 1 hour and 50 minutes the next time, and 1 hour and 40 minutes the week after, etc. To create some sort of a challenge. So that's what we did in Blackwing Lair. So week after week, we shaved like 10 minutes of our clear time, up until like the last few months where we started actually speedrunning it. And that competition with Burnt and actually speedrunning made us want to start strong in AQ as well.
Okay.
And go for rank 1 progress, go for rank 1 speed. So I don't know, it is not a change overnight, like we're casual in Blackwing Lair and we're going hardcore in AQ or anything. But we grew, so we kind of set the standards during Blackwing Lair, like this is where we want to be as a guild. We're not there yet, but we need to replace a few members that aren't in that mindset. We need to invest a bit more in tactics. We need to invest a bit more in analyzing the logs, etc. So we get to this level. So the goal, the ambition was set. And the great part that helped there actually was the Corona lockdown. So it's one thing saying we need to invest more time, we need to research more, we need to look at replays more or whatever. But actually having the time because of the lockdown actually helped a lot as well.
Exactly. Sadly, lockdown hit and everybody was locked down. You said you woke up at midnight doing progress to maybe have that number 1 spot. How did you fare? How did you finish on that progress in AQ?
Yeah, so we knew that Warcraft logs, which is, you know, I guess the guys deciding what the competition is and the rules are, they counted the progress as a Cthulhu rush. So we knew upon that the optional bosses or whatever, they're all not important. It was only important that you went for Cthulhu, because that's what Warcraft logs would show. And we were like, all right, if we have to get up at midnight, we will rush to Cthulhu, and that should be the end of it, right? People want to go to bed, and we'll just clear it the next day or whatever. So we actually didn't practice the optional bosses on the private server intentionally, because we wanted to have some fresh bosses in there as well. It all sounds great, like I said before, private server, but it's also very boring if you actually see all the bosses before you get the content in Classic. So you need to save some of the content by not doing it. So we practiced the bosses and we researched into the bosses that we actually had to do. And then bosses we didn't have to do, we didn't even look at the tactics or videos or anything. just so we would have some bosses where we could enjoy ourselves. Like, all right, what is happening? Let's just go. But anyway, so the progress night, we played at midnight, and we one-shot everything from the first boss towards Cthulhu. I don't know what the clear time was. Pretty fast, I think 2 hours maybe or something. I don't know. But anyway, we one-shotted all the bosses, and that was so boring. I was so disappointed. I mean, you could say you brought this on yourselves, you practice on the private server, why do you do that and then complain that the bosses are one-shot? But I don't know, it was the biggest disappointment for me in Classic. So after we cleared up to Cthulhu, or including Cthulhu, we went for the optional bosses. For example, Uro, we just linked a 30 seconds guide on YouTube, from YouTube in our Discord. Everyone watched the video for 30 seconds and we just went there and we one-shot it as well.
Nice.
Bug Trio 2-shot after, and then people had to go to bed. I think we had a visitor's attempt still or something, and we called it. But I don't know, that was AQ progress for us. Bit boring, disappointment. For example, Cthulhu. Back from in vanilla, we had so much respect for that boss. It was so difficult, and now we went in. Progress night Cthulhu. Of course, we practiced going in, running in the beam on the private server. It worked entirely different on the private server, so it was of no use. But during the progress night, we go in, and I get beamed, of course. And my fat bear ass didn't fit in between the pillar and the other wall as I was running out and away from the raid group, so I got stuck. And I chained to like 10 more people, and I think we lost like 11 people on running in. So we had to 29 men Cthulhu on the progress night. And we actually did it. We one-shot the boss with the 29 people.
How many phase do you remember? How many?
I don't know. I think we had 2 or 3 phase 2s or something.
Okay. So you won. Yeah, that's really funny that you said you one-shot every boss, but you wipe at Bug Trio.
Yeah. So Bug Trio we didn't practice, and Uro we didn't practice, Viscidus we didn't practice. Practice / lookup tactics and everything. And Bug Trio was actually easy, but I don't know, like fatigue was a thing. People were tired, and we were just like, let's just go in fast, don't look at anything, whatever, just try it. Okay. And then we ended up, what did we do? We messed up the markers, and then we changed target halfway in, so we got 3 bosses to like 30%, and then we killed one, and the others healed up, and I don't know, it was a complete shit show. And the second time, it died very easily.
Okay.
So the first wipe was at Bug Trio, yes.
Kind of, to me, it's kind of funny knowing that maybe Twin Amps is more difficult than Bug Trio. Cthulhu, you are entirely right saying there's such a huge difference between vanilla Cthulhu and classic Cthulhu, but Twin Amps is a good example. Not even a wipe in the trash leading to Twin Amp after Princess.
No wipe. No, we did that pretty well. Well. I mean, it was messy as fuck, but we didn't wipe. We took it slowly. We separated all the mobs, I think, and we just worked our way down the ads. And we had deaths left and right, but no wipes.
And what about Princess? Princess who ran? Did you prepare? Did you add the nature resist?
Yeah, so I think we told everyone to get 150 nature resistance.
Okay.
Well, not everyone, the melee. But we actually practiced it on the private server, and then we figured out, well, we have this DPS on Classic, and this DPS on the private server. So we have enough DPS to do it with 100 nature resistance. So we tried that, it was fine. Then we tried it with 50 nature resistance, and it was fine. And we were like, all right, we don't need nature resistance for this boss. But by that time, everyone had grinded the nature resistance gear already. Okay. And then for the progress night, I think we used nature resistance gear just to be safe. I'm not sure how much, in between 50 and 100, I think.
Okay. You said I want to elaborate on one thing. You said that AQ is where you started to be a little bit more, let's say, serious or focused, like having a researching boss, having a private server, having a Google Sheet, and so on. Were you the one doing all this work? Did you have people also participating in the research, filling up the Google Sheet and so on? How this worked in your guild specifically?
Yeah, so the level of seriousness and stuff, it went up during Blackwing Lair, and then it was at the peak at the start of AQ, and then it went down again. So it's not that the entire AQ tier we have been super serious or anything. If anything, it went downhill. But yeah, so I don't know. Back then we had I don't know exactly. Like there's several officers doing different things, and I just the system we use is that I bounce my ideas on the other officers mostly. So they come up with stuff, I come up with stuff, and then I write up a document, and I bounce that on the officers, and they tell me to change stuff. We try stuff around. So it's definitely a team effort. I guess I'm the main guy doing it, but it's definitely a team effort. It's not a solo job or anything.
Okay, so it's more of a trial error kind of group of person bringing their ideas and so.
Yeah. So even our members are doing this. So they watch the professional girls doing stuff, and they link me the VOD, and they tell me, oh, they're doing this. Here's the log. Here's the VOD. Do you think we can pull this off? Um, stuff like that. And then I decide either we implement it or not, or that we change it a bit or whatever to make it work for us. And that's what we go about. And then when we actually execute it and stuff goes wrong or whatever, we analyze it together, and it's the same story again. Sometimes this guy finds our mistake. Sometimes it's another guy, and they tell me, and then we change stuff around.
Okay. It's really a group a guild effort, if I can say. Let's get to the
Yeah, definitely.
Let's get to the part of the speed running in AQ. How did you came up to speed run in AQ? Was that something you wanted to do from the get go, or it's something that you went into because you did it in BWL and you wanted to try it?
Yeah, so I think Blackwing Lair in terms of speedrunning was definitely speedrunning in Blackwing Lair was our number one priority. That was the thing we got most of our fun out of, and what we really wanted to do, and 80-90% of our focus went into speedrunning at the time. For AQ it was a bit different, so we focused a lot on the progress as well. We got that done, and then we wanted to split as fast as we could. Just because we could, because more gear, because whatever, we were bored of Blackwing Lair by then. Let's do AQ splits. So we set that up, and I think from like the third week or something in AQ, we started splitting. And apart from the progress split week, so the first week we actually split AQ, we had a few wipes. But after that, I don't think we had any wipes anywhere in any of the splits.
What for your
was kind of?
I'm sorry, for your split, was it the same group, the same 40 group, or you added some social, let's say, to one of your split?
So in MC we didn't split the MC tier, and then in the Blackwing Lair tier we started speedrunning, and besides that we did a bit of splits. So whenever we say split, it means that we have like 40 to 45 people on the main roster, and everyone has raiding alts. And what splitting means is that we put 20 of our mains in one run, along with 20 of the alts, and then the next raid night, the other 20 mains along with the other 20 alts form the second raid. And we arranged it in a way that the mains could bid DKP on gear, and whenever the mains wouldn't need gear, the alts could roll on the gear that wasn't needed by the mains. The idea was to get more gear on the mains, and to, I don't know, you'd still play together in that sense. You could say, let's just do a main raid, do an alt raid, or whatever, but this way the team would still play together. They would play different roles, which helped them in terms of experience, I guess, and it would get more gear on the mains.
So nobody played the same, or you guys did not play the same role in your split. Like, let's say you have your mage in front of us right now. We know you have a druid as well. So why not two mage? Why not two druid?
It was up to everyone's personal preference. What would they enjoy playing the most, and then also fit the roster, obviously. And I think it really helps if they play a different role. If I would play a mage in the one and a mage in the other, I mean, of course you play your mage more, but I got to see the raid from a tanking perspective and from a healing perspective. And I think that helped me a lot because I would see different things being a healer than I would being a tank.
Okay.
But there's also people that had Shaman main healer and Priest alt, for example, or Warrior DPS main and Rogue DPS alt, which is pretty much the same, obviously.
Any position, critical position, let's say main tanks, did you allow them to do another role in your split, or they were asked to have two tanks? Is it something you enforce, or just we will do with what we have and we will make it work, basically?
Yeah, so our main team had 4 main tanks. You know, quote unquote main tanks. I don't know if you would say 4 main tanks, but say 1 bear and 3 fury prots, and then we had 2 flex tanks, which would just be furies, but they would tank trash.
Okay.
And then when we split, you would put 2 of the main tanks in one group, 2 of the main tanks in the other group, and then fill the rest up with the flex tanks and the DPS warriors that don't mind to tank some trash, essentially becoming a flex tank.
Okay.
So both the runs would still have 2 main tanks pulling, doing the heavy lifting in terms of tanking, I guess.
So it was only your flex tank that, and you, let's say your off tank that you watch. Okay, perfect. One question, because we already talked about people. The let's say what we think about having split run is loot. A lot of loot. We talked about it. How lucky or unlucky your guild was with loot?
Well, that depends a lot on what class you play in our guild. Our guild is called as Castle Sanguineus because we only get castle loot, and as you know, the meta is to have a lot of melee, right? But the melee loot just didn't drop for us at all. So we were splitting Blackwing Lair, for example, and at one point, I think we did 27 runs, where the other guilds all did like, I don't know, maybe 17 runs or 16 runs, and they were giving DFTs to hunters and stuff, and we only had 1 DFT drop in our 27 runs. Stuff like that, or no cruel for so many weeks, and while splitting, for some reason you feel like you deserve the loot more because you split, right? So I mean, and it could be true in a sense because you get double the loot, and we did get double the loot, but we were at a point where we were giving Nef tier to alts because all our mains had them already. But then on the other hand, the melee got shafted really bad in that phase because the loot wouldn't drop.
1 DFT in 27 run. It's rough. It must be rough to the melee, to the warrior melee, to the tank as well. Yeah, so it sucks to be them. Good. I want to, because time flies. We're 1 hour 10 minutes into it. I feel like we could talk all night. Nax, how did you prepare from AQ, from a really good speedrunning AQ guild, split guild, to attacking Nax, wanting to progress, to be on the board on progress of Nax? How did you prepare for it?
Yeah, so so AQ we kind of split too much, and near the end, the speedrunning, you know, we weren't up to scratch, and I don't know, it wasn't a high point in the guild. So during the Blackwing Lair tier, for example, we kept recruiting better quality players and dropping the players that weren't that interested in speedrunning or progressing. They just wanted to clear, you know, be a bit more casual. But during AQ, we didn't really do that anymore. We just got rid of people that didn't really fit the guild anymore. So they were complaining, oh, I don't want to do splits. Oh, I don't want to speedrun. Oh, I don't want to do this. We got rid of all those people. But that meant that we dropped like 5 or 6 people and we didn't really get new ones. I think we didn't recruit for like 3 or 4 months in that time. So near the end of AQ and when Next was actually announced, we had some catching up to do. But yeah, we went full out on the tactics. It was a busy period for me in real life, so that was a problem. But we installed a new officer that would help with the preparation and the tactics. And yeah, what did we do in terms of preparation? We made everyone get flasks again, all the protection potions, all the consumables again, everything mandatory. We set up the private server again, which was an even bigger shit show than the AQ private server version. Because this one just randomly crashed whenever there were like 10 people on it.
Was it the same guy that was running it?
Yeah, so it's running on a server in my house, but the guy that's actually configuring it obviously blames the server in my house and not his coding.
So you did not fire him? You did not learn from AQ? You did not fire him?
No, man, I feel for him, man. He does what he can, but there's not much to work with.
Okay.
Anyway, so we did a bit of private server practice again, but really it sounds great, but it is disgusting. I think you tried it as well on your server, right? It is really, really shit. But anyway, you get to see the bosses again, sort of, and I think the most useful thing for us with that was that I could go in, put Guild Master mode on, Game Master mode on, so I couldn't get hit. And I would stand there taking screenshots, and then I would draw lines on the screenshots, like, this is where you're going to stand, this is where you're going to run, etc. So you would have some sense of positioning. So we set up a tactics sheet, entirely very detailed. And I don't know, we started checking with people early if they could play all the days from the release of Next, like the entire week. When can you play? Can you play on release night? Can you play the evening after? Can you play the evening after, etc. And then we told everyone that it's going to be a very expensive week. Prepare to lose 3k golden this week because we want to go at it. And that's what we did, I guess.
So you prepare for next in terms of consume and in terms of progress. Did you went the first night at, I think it released at midnight, at 11 or midnight, I don't remember. I knew it was late at night. Did you went in at midnight?
Yeah, so yeah, we went in at midnight. Some people got the next day off, some people had to work, but so it's always a thing, right? You have to go in and you don't know if people have to quit at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or whatever. True. And you just hope that they stay long enough that you get some bosses down.
It was a Thursday, if I remember right.
Yeah, Thursday midnight, I think.
Yeah. What was your approach in terms of wings? Like what was your first wing?
Yeah, so we went Abomination Wing first. We figured, I think the reasoning at the time was Spider Wing is probably the easiest. Abomination Wing is hard because Patchwork is hard, right? So getting world buffs, bringing your world buffs to there makes that fight so much easier. And then Gorbius should be easy, Gluth should be easy, Thaddeus, okay-ish, but easier with world buffs still. So we went for Abomination Wing first. And which was a good choice, I think. Patchwork was hard, and we one-shotted it with the world buffs.
Nice.
There's also a lot of trash there, which we gotten through quite easily because of the world buffs.
Indeed.
And I'm not sure where we went after. Did we go Spider Wing? Let me check really quick. Abomination Wing and then Spider Wing. Yes. So Abomination Wing and then Spider Wing, and then not Military Wing, Plague Wing, okay. Which was all one shots up until Loathab, okay. Which was very decent, better than expected actually. So we one shot everything in Abomination Wing and Spider Wing, and then in Plague Wing up to Loathab, and then that's where the expensive part started. we didn't really prepare that boss that hard. We were like, all right, this is what you need to do: healing rotation, whatever. Use your protection potion for shadow, bandage a bit, and whatever. Boss should die, no problem, no mechanics. Get the spores. So I think we got like 7 or 8 attempts, and we got them to like sub 20% on most of them, but we kept dying at the same part. And as we said, we were going to go full out on consumables and everything. So every try we put all consumables up again, all DPS enhancing ones, shadow protection, everything. So everyone was like soaking 100 gold per attempt, and we did like 7 in a row. So that's like 700 gold in an hour or something. And then we called quits because it was getting later in the night. People were getting tired and whatever. We go back the next day. We get new world buffs, and that should make the boss easy. That was our philosophy then.
So Loteb was your first wall. So when you go back the next time with full word buff and everything, how did it go at this point?
Yeah, so we went back on Loteb with wall buffs and we one-shotted it. Yeah, like with a lot of bosses in Nex, if you have a full world buffs there, it just makes the fight so much easier. It's kind of boring actually. But let's see, what did we do after? We went to military wing, and that's where we have something with the Vesuvius, right? Vesuvius, we have been wiping there up until 2 weeks ago. The last 2 weeks have been one-shots, but up until 2 weeks ago, we always had a wipe at Vesuvius. Or maybe not a wipe, but lose 10 people or something.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, it's also one of the most boring bosses in my opinion. You have to depend on 1 or 2 guys doing mind controlling, and then for the mind controlling not to break and whatever, and you're just standing there hoping for the best. It's boring. Anyway, so we killed Vesuvius, we killed Gothic. Gothic was actually decent for us, and then we got to 4 horsemen, and I don't know how long that took us, like maybe 2 hours or something.
Okay.
We decided to go with the boomer strat. So the full out boomer strat where you just keep rotating. 3 marks go out, 3 marks go out, 3 marks go out. And that took us like the entire night because random shit happened. It took us like 2 hours, and then we killed it. We went to Saffron, but we didn't really prepare Saffron that much. Just like, all right, use half of the room, spread out a bit, and go. Which didn't work out, obviously. So the next day was on a Saturday, I think. So yeah, we did Thursday night, and then we did Friday evening, and then Saturday we took a night off because it was very expensive and intense, and lack of sleep, and everyone's wives were starting to scream, and we're a dad guild, everyone has kids, so we took the Saturday off.
Was your wife screaming as well?
No, that's one of the benefits if she's actually in the guild as well. You don't get these discussions. It's the best thing ever.
That's why I'm asking.
So Sunday evening we got back at Saffron, and we did spend the Saturday and the Sunday during the day to research Saffron and KT more, okay. Because we know these are the 2 ones left. We want to get the first week clear. Let's invest some time in researching and everything. We improved our Saffron tactics loads. We actually sat together with some of the officers and we talked about it. We set up a sheet and we draw pictures and everything where we're going to stand and what everyone's job is, like completely micromanage everything. And we went up in healers. I think we had 17 or something, and a shadow priest that did some stuff. And then we actually went onto the private server. So usually at 8 our raid starts, but then at 8 we went on our private server to practice Saffron and the way we had it in mind. Okay. And then we had like, I don't know, maybe 6 attempts, and every attempt we were like, we need to change this. All right, go again. Change this. All right, go again. Because we figured Saffron is so hard without frost resistance, and we have to go up 17 healers. And doing this boss with world buffs gives us like 80% chance of killing it if we do it properly. Doing it without world buffs drops to like 20% chance of killing it. So we really wanted to get the most out of our first attempt where you had the world buffs. We were checking logs of other guilds and we saw exactly the same. Pretty much all the kills, like 90% of the kills, were with world buffs. and people without world buffs, even the better guilds, they just went out and got new world buffs because it was so hard. I don't know if other guilds can relate, but killing Saffron the first week, or attempting Saffron the first week, is an entire different story than doing it now. But anyway, so we one-shotted it when we finally went on Classic, which was, I don't know, I guess the happiest moment of the first week, maybe, because we really felt like Saffron is a big, big wall, and we need to get past this. Please let this first try be the one, right? Let's not fuck up this first try. And we did it. And then we went for KT, obviously still had wall buffs, and we one-shotted it as well, because same story, wall buffs on KT it makes it a different fight. And then we cleared next the first week, which was our goal, and we got it, and we were very, very happy about it.
What was the sentiment from the guild after killing KT? In the sense that everybody, I'm guessing, everybody was happy, of course, but were they demanding more, or did you feel that it was going to be difficult to keep them going?
You mean for the raids following?
Yes.
I don't know. Most of us actually enjoyed Nex and enjoyed that it was more difficult, especially after AQ. So AQ, we one-shotted everything, at least for the Cthulhu Rush, and then we were like, oh my god, is this it? Is this what we've been waiting for all these months, to just one-shot everything? Yeah. And then next we finally got our first raid, actually, where we finally got some sense of progression, where we had to get out of the raid, look at what we did, analyze the logs, research, do better the next time, come back and kill stuff. That, along with the gold investment and time investment we did that week, it's good if that pays off, right? That makes it all right. So they were just ready to go again. There was nobody that said like, oh my god, this is too hard, too expensive, or too intense, I don't want to do this anymore.
Nice, because I know for a lot of us players coming back into Classic, when you set your goal of clearing Nax, once you accomplish it, you might not want to come back because plenty of reason. You said it, the first one being it costs 2,000 gold per week, or whatever it costs you as whatever class you're playing. So being able to keep your guild motivated and going back in week after week is really a feat. What?
Yeah, so we lost a handful of players before Next, surprisingly. So the 2 weeks before Next, we lost like 5 or 6 people. They were like, all right, I need to take a break, I'm done with the game, I'm burning out, whatever. And we were like, why would you do this now? Why don't you just clear Next the first week and then leave? And it's not like they ran out of gold or anything, they just were done with the game, like 1 or 2 weeks before Next, which was surprising. But after Next, I don't think we lost any players. If anything, we cut down on players, because Next is a step up, and we want to push it a bit more, and it required the investment of time and research and everything we did to get there, which isn't for everyone, I guess.
It is. I think it's Rick Troll in the chat saying it's the first, the first proper raid of Classic. Do you feel it is the first proper raid of Classic?
Yeah, I do. I think world buffs have ruined Classic to an extent. Imagine doing all of this without world buffs. It would actually have been more interesting. And I said this as well during Next. The most sense of progression that I've gotten in Next was actually doing the bosses without world buffs. So I don't know, a few weeks ago we killed Saffron for the first time without world buffs. That felt better than killing Saffron the first time. Same for KT and some other bosses. But it is in the game, so you're going to use it.
Have you killed all boss and Nax with no world buff?
I'm not sure if it's all bosses. Because, for example, Noth we've been doing as first boss, so I think we haven't done Noth without world buffs, but yeah, all the difficult bosses we've done without world buffs.
How's your dancing?
Have you seen the Have you seen my dance of like what is it, 2 weeks ago? I'm actually tanking that boss, and I have a marker on top of my head. I'm the safety spot. Stay near me. And then 2 weeks ago, I messed up. I went too far or something, and I mean, let's be honest, it was a test for all my raiders to see if they were actually tunnel visioning and Papegas, or if they could think for themselves, and they all failed the test. Ultimately, died there.
That's a good one. Which boss in Nax you prefer personally? Which one you have the most fun with week after week? So you're anxious to get to that boss because as a tank you're having fun on that boss.
Um, I don't know. Like as a tank, this is not really super interesting. The most of the bosses. I'm having fun at Sephra now because I get to equip my healing set and decurse and heal a bit, which is something different. Um, and in terms of tanking, I think KT is the most fun because you actually have to put some solid threat on the boss all of a sudden when MC happens. Um, mind your positioning a bit, maybe work on the ads, do stuff. But the rest of the bosses are mostly tank and spank actually.
Beside
Thinking about bosses.
beside the healer swap, I don't know if you guys still do healer swap on Sephiron. I'm guessing not. You probably have diminished your number of healers. You said your first drive was on 17. I'm guessing.
Yeah, we don't change our comp anymore.
Okay. Do you do you or any of your guildies actually start coming with alts or start doing some specific boss with alts?
No, we don't have any alts in Nex. There's a lot of talk about doing an alt run for Nex or a GDKP run with alt for Nex or I don't know, but there's no alts in Nex right now. The state we're in right now is that we do Nex on a Wednesday with the main group, and then the Sunday, which is a second rate night, we just do sort of a puck ride, so non-mandatory AQ and Blackwing Lair or something, and then pucks can join in to fill up, just to have people take it a bit more easy until TBC gets released. Because everyone knows that we're going to go hard on TBC once it releases.
Exactly. So I'm guessing you intend to still clear Nax and do your pug AQ BWL MC till Nax hits.
Till TBC hits, yeah.
Till Nax hits, till TBC, yes. Sorry.
Yeah, the only potential change for us is that if we lock into TBC characters and people want to get some gear on the TBC characters, that we might swap some of those characters in for some bosses just to pick up the loot.
Okay.
And then go out again.
Okay. While we're slowly talking about TBC, do you guys have any plan in TBC right now?
Yeah, so TBC, like I said before, is the peak expansion for me personally, and a lot of people in the guild are actually very excited about TBC, so we're definitely going to play it. And I'm really happy to be able to start strong in the expansion for once. Usually, I take a break and then I start to have to build up again at the new expansion. Now we have a fully functioning running guild, so that's going to be fun. And what are our plans for TBC? Well, we're definitely playing it. We're definitely rating it. Probably going to try and, within our range of competition, compete for progress and clear times. Well, at least one raid team, and then we'll have to see what happens with the other players. Okay. Potentially a second team if we can pull it off.
Knowing that raids in TBC is 25 men, I'm guessing you have room for two raid team if your raid team doesn't move. What is the goal? What is the end goal in TBC?
Back in TBC, I didn't clear Sunwell just because I had to take a break for in real life stuff at the time. So I want to clear Sunwell. For me personally, that's the goal. And I don't know, guild goals, like I said before, some sense of getting progress rankings and clear times. I don't know to what extent yet. We're not. I don't know. We don't plan that far ahead, I guess. We just want to see what we're at the time.
Makes sense. We're going to finish with a few questions from people from the chat. Chat, if you have a few questions, now's the time. I'm gonna start with one that came from the chat before. What is your opinion about our server? What is good? What needs to be improved?
I don't know. I think we're doing quite well. I don't really have any comparison. I'm not on any of the other servers, obviously. But I guess we talked about it a bit before. When we started in Molten Core tier, we didn't have any organized buffs or any. You didn't see guilds trying to help each other. Like, all right, do you need Eye of Sulfuros? We don't need any anymore, or whatever. Like, join my raid for this. I'll help you with that. There are way more pugs happening. People are finding each other way better, so that's all decent. And I guess the server drama that we have is limited, or it isn't getting out of hand, in my opinion. Which is, I don't know. I feel like it's part of the community and part of the game to have sort of some sense of drama in there.
It comes with the vanilla experience, I think.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I think we're in a good position with the server. I would have loved to see a bit more horde population with a better ratio, better balance, and maybe a bit more players overall. But hopefully TBC will give us that.
Hopefully it will give us that. I had a good question. I don't remember the question itself, how it was, but the gist of it was, we know you as Doler from Consanguineus, so you're mage. You change to your bear tanking, which is called Dolfer, if I'm not mistaken. To today, which is probably, it is your main, you have a Tish with it. What made you change from a mage to today you're druid?
Yeah, so I started leveling a mage in tier 1 in the Molten Core phase, I mean. I just leveled an alt, which happened to be a druid for no reason, I guess for TBC maybe, because I wanted a Resto Druid alt or something. But as I was leveling it, we started to have like sort of a tanking situation, which is what I talked about before. So we were doing Molten Core and we were swapping away from being completely casual whatever to trying to get some sort of a clear time. And the tanks we had at the time, they weren't very clear time minded, I guess. They just wanted to do the pull timer and the ready check and the wait for 5 Sunder stuff. And the druid tank we had at the time, for example, didn't want to farm crowd pummelers because people would just have to wait 10 seconds until we had a threat lead and then we could go. And we were trying to swap away from it. So the easy fix would be for me to play my druid as a tank, so at least we would have one tank that was more oriented towards doing stuff fast. That's why I changed. And I've been tanking since, I don't know, maybe the second or the third raid in Blackwing Lair up until now.
Which one of your you also have a few characters? I think you have a shaman as well, if I'm not mistaken. Which one do you have fun playing? Beside your main, I mean, having your main is something we obviously have fun, but which one outside of your main maybe you do have fun still playing up to this day?
Yeah, so I ditched the mage as soon as I had my shaman max level. We needed healers at the time, so that's why I kind of power leveled one.
Okay.
But also, I was so bored of pressing Frostbolt at the time. It was so boring that I wanted to play shaman instead. And it's also good contrast because when you're tanking, you're obviously very focused and active all the time and whatever. You're railing on top of it, and then at the other split run, I could heal, which is more relaxing than tanking. Especially as a shaman, you should know. putting a break on Chain Hill and watching Netflix on the second screen. No, but it is way more relaxing just playing a healer, and we needed it at the time. We needed shamans, so totems stuff. So I played that as a raiding alt, and I leveled a hunter now because that's possibly my TBC character. Played the hunter in TBC as well as a main. So now I have a hunter, a shaman, a druid, and a mage as mains.
I heard I heard you're quite good with your shaman, and you have quite impressive totem. To be exact, 24-inch totem. Do you approve that?
Oh, this is a story that originates out of the TBC era as well. I played hunter and I had a 24-inch boomstick. That was the lore of my hunter for some reason.
Nice.
I don't know. I guess people took that over in classic now.
Nice one. What character are you going to play in TBC?
There's a lot of options for me. Well, a lot of things that I would like to play, I should say. So Wrestle Druid is something I would like to play, or Tank Druid, or Hunter DPS. Those are the most obvious characters, I guess. But then I don't know. I could list like 6 more that I would want to play. So we are going to wait for the TBC news, which is upcoming weekend.
Friday, hopefully.
Friday, yeah. And then we're going to do a survey in the guild, like what do you want for the rest of Classic, what do you want for TBC, what do you want to play, like what kind of goals and ambitions they have in TBC, whatever. And then we will decide on what characters people should play.
Mm-hmm.
And that should give me, I guess that's the kind of gem I am. I wait for the rest, see what they pick, and then whatever is left, I will pick something out of that.
Which you have the choice today, either be healer, either be DPS, or tanking, which is good.
Yeah, and I don't mind playing any role. I'm not in love with a certain role or anything. Every expansion I just swap role. That's usually what I do. So if I'm DPS in one expansion, I heal the next, and then I tank the next, and then I go DPS again the next, etc.
And knowing that raids will be 25 men instead of 40, I mean, the options raiding on multiple character become easier in a sense, even though even more if you do it within the guild or as bug outside the guild.
Yeah, I really think that makes someone a better player if they play several roles. We have this issue in the guild as well, where the melee they just want to go, and the healers they just want to drink, and then when we analyze stuff on VODs and logs and everything, the healers say, why does this melee take this damage, and why does he not press a whipper and whatever, and then the melee say, why do I not get a heal for 4 seconds, what is wrong? And I really want to tell them both, like, go play the other role and find out why this is the case, because you don't know what it's like until you've played the other side of the raid.
Exactly. I truly agree with that. Every healer should play tank, every tank should play healer, and so on and so forth. Same thing with the DPS. It gets you better as a player as a whole, and actually understand what's happening outside your class, your tunnel vision that you play as a player. Anything you want to add to this super good discussion moment we had with you throughout the night, understanding a little bit more about your guild, your thoughts, how it went down and everything? Anything you want to add for us, for everybody?
No, I'm very interested in the other interviews, actually. See what the other guilds are like. I enjoy hearing stories about the other guilds, and we're in this together, as a community. We hope that the other guilds all thrive, and the more the merrier, I guess. Hopefully, we'll get some inside stories from the other gems as well that come up in your interviews after this one.
I really hope so. Me too. I want to know. I want to know about every other guild. There's plenty of stories. I said a few in my previous stream. Yes, I totally agree with you. So thank you very much. I will not keep you longer. I know your time is precious. I know that your personal time is your I don't know how to say your schedule is kind of fucked up nowadays. That's what you told me. So I will not keep you longer. I just want to say to everybody, next week same time we will have a new interview. So next week it will be Ole of Easy coming on to the stream, coming on to be interviewed. I'm anxious. I'm nervous as well of having Ole, but I think it will be fun as well. I think there's plenty of story that will come out of it.
I will come hang out and get involved in the questions part of the end of the interview.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to have spent the last hour and a half with me, with the chat. Super wonderful interview, super nice view into how consanguineus came to be, how you guys rated, what was your mentality, what is your mentality today, and what you want out of a glimpse of, let's say, of what you want out of TBC. I've known you since AQ. You are really a nice person. I like talking to you back then. I still like talking to you today. It's always fun. It's always light conversation. You know, there's no backstory. There's no anything. I feel when I talk to you, it's always super cool to talk to you. Don't hesitate. Anytime you want to come back, you're always welcome. You tell me and you'll be back in no time.
Yeah, cheers. Had fun. Thanks for the interview. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Don't forget, next week, same time, same place, Ole of Easy coming on. Have a good one. Peace. We are out.